They were at a restaurant near the hospital. Caleb left his phone on the table to take a call. Mine was recording because I was making notes for a science project. I forgot to stop it. What happened to the recording? I sent the project folder to my school cloud before Caleb took my phone. He deleted it from the phone, but he didn't know it had synced. Why didn't you tell anyone? Owen stared at the bridge. Caleb said if I accused them of lying, the judge might think you told me to. He said you could lose your job or go to jail for interfering with the order. The glue bottle bent under his grip. I thought staying quiet was protecting you. I reached across the table. Stopping before touching him, you were never responsible for protecting me from adults. His eyes filled, but he blinked the tears back. If I give you the recording, Caleb will know it came from me. I won't use it without Leah. And you will not be the only proof. He finally released the glue bottle and whispered the file name. That evening, Tasha retrieved the synced copy, duplicated it, and preserved the original timestamps. Restaurant noise filled my dining room. Silverware. Music. A server asking about drinks, then Evelyn's voice emerged beneath it. The impairment finding does not have to be permanent. It only has to last long enough for the successor trustee provision to activate. Caleb answered too softly to understand. Evelyn continued, once you control the account, the trust can guarantee the bridge financing. The principal stays protected on paper. When the development closes, everything is repaid. My father had built that trust so Owen would never inherit his fear of losing everything. Evelyn was discussing it like unused collateral. Caleb's voice became clearer. Nora will fight the resignation. Not if the treatment history, pharmacy restriction, and parenting petition support one another. She will look confused because confusion is already part of the record. I gripped the table, then Caleb asked the question that ended whatever remained of my marriage. What happens if Owen finds out what we did? He did not ask whether the plan could hurt Owen, he asked whether we would discover it. Tasha paused the recording. You should stop for tonight. No. Play the rest. There was no confession after that. Only numbers, deadlines, and Evelyn reminding Caleb that his company could not survive another missed payment. That gave Tasha a new place to look. 2 days later, she found a transfer of $96,000 from a foundation-linked development account to Caleb's primary equipment lender. It posted the morning after he signed the papers. Caleb had told me Evelyn pressured him. The bank record showed she had paid him. He asked to meet the following evening. Leah approved only if we met publicly and I recorded the conversation legally. Caleb chose the parking area behind my physical therapy clinic. He looked exhausted when he approached my car. I made a mistake, he said. A mistake is entering the wrong account number. My mother said the trust would never lose money. You signed my name. I didn't create the signature. You used it. He lowered his voice. Mom handled the documents. She said the temporary order would keep Owen stable until you recovered. Stable for whom? He leaned against the passenger door. You don't understand how bad the company is. I owe suppliers, the bank. Everyone. If the waterfront project dies, 12 people lose their jobs. So you traded my reputation for payroll? No. I thought we could reverse everything after the financing closed. I let the silence work. He began offering pieces. Evelyn had arranged the clinic records. A consultant submitted the insurance claim. The parenting petition gave Caleb physical control of Owen while the trust resignation was processed. Each admission was carefully limited. He claimed he had not known the clinic was fake. I pretended there was something left to save. Help Leah correct the parenting order, I said. Tell the court I'm not a danger, and I'll consider keeping your role out of the public fight. His eyes lifted. You would do that? I said I would consider it. He nodded too quickly, then he glanced toward the street. You need to move fast. Why? Mom's scholarship gala is next Friday. She isn't just announcing awards. He rubbed both hands over his face. She plans to close the waterfront financing that night. The gala gave us a deadline. The next morning, Tasha showed us that Cascadia Futures Fund was considering a $400,000 award to Evelyn's foundation. The grant hasn't been approved, Tasha said. Cascadia requires enhanced due diligence first. Leah leaned toward the screen. Source documents? Original statements, invoices, board minutes. Disclosures, and proof for every family stabilization program. Harbor Ridge had been billed as family stabilization. Evelyn had placed the lie where the donor would inspect it. Tasha used Cascadia's official compliance channel, identified herself, attached only lawful records, and requested independent verification. Then we waited. Evelyn did what people with too much confidence often do. She certified everything. Her office uploaded ledgers, Harbor Ridge invoices, trust correspondence, waterfront minutes, and North Coast contracts through Cascadia's secure portal. The portal preserved upload times, identities, and metadata. Evelyn believed she was strengthening the financing package. Instead, she was authenticating the documents we needed. Leah filed an emergency motion to suspend Caleb's authority over Owen's trust. She included my drug tests, pharmacy history, copied signature, Caleb's debt payment, and a sealed reference to Owen's evidence. She did not attach the recording yet. Caleb called after receiving notice. You said you might keep me out of the public fight. I said I would consider it if you corrected the parenting order. I'm working on it. You filed nothing. My attorney needs time. You found time to become trustee. He went quiet. I still remembered the man who attended Owen's games. Protecting that memory would excuse the man he had chosen to become. I messaged Leah, proceed with his name included. At my next supervised visit, Owen fitted another beam into our model bridge. Is Caleb going to get arrested? I don't know. Is Grandma? I don't know that either. He studied me. You say that when you know something bad. I know there may be serious consequences. I don't know what they will be. That's different. Yes. I explained that Caleb claimed he planned to replace the trust money after the development closed. Owen's mouth tightened. That's what he told himself. It doesn't mean nobody got hurt. I had spent years softening adult failures so my son could feel secure. He did not want softness anymore. Don't make him sound better for me, he said. And don't pretend you're okay. I nodded. No more comforting lies. After the visit, Tasha sent the county ethics office documented links among Evelyn's foundation, the waterfront entities, the fake clinic, and Caleb's debt payment. She asked investigators to verify everything. Marcus Bell called that evening. He was an investigative reporter at the Alder Bay Ledger. I received documents connecting a public foundation to a custody dispute, he said. I won't publish a family allegation. Good. He paused. I expected you to persuade me. I need you to verify it. Marcus requested non-profit filings, campaign disclosures, property records, and the public parts of my employment case. I won't use Owen's recording unless it enters an official proceeding, he said. I won't identify him as a source. His caution was useful. Then Evelyn struck back. 2 mornings later, my own voice came through the kitchen radio. A host called it proof that a county employee had threatened her child's caregivers. The clip lasted 11 seconds. You took my son. You used my name. I will make sure everyone knows what you did. It came from a voicemail I left Caleb before Leah became involved. The pauses were removed. So was the sentence where I asked him to let Owen call me. The station replayed it twice, by noon. The county moved my employment hearing forward. My supervisor, Martin Ellis, called from a private number. HR says the public trust issue requires immediate review. Based on an edited recording? Based on the recording, the impairment complaint, and questions about your inspections. You have my negative medical results. I do. Then say that. His silence answered me. When I collected personal items under supervision, my desk had already been cleared. My inspection helmet sat inside a transparent evidence bag beside my field notebook and measuring laser. 2 coworkers watched from the hallway. One looked away. The other nodded but did not approach. Administrative leave had sounded temporary. Now it looked like removal. Marcus waited outside. I heard the full voicemail, he said. The station received only the edited file. Can you prove who sent it? Not yet. Then don't publish that claim. He nodded. Evelyn's campaign reported a media consulting payment yesterday. The consultant shares an agent with North Coast Community Strategies. Another connection, still not enough. That night, Cascadia notified Tasha that the Foundation's upload package had moved to forensic examination. For 3 days, we heard nothing. Gala banners appeared along the waterfront. Evelyn went on television beside scholarship finalists, promising transparency and responsible growth. Then Cascadia's forensic specialist requested a call. Dr. Aaron Pike shared his screen and opened the submitted files. The financial statements were revised on a computer registered to the Mercer Foundation office, he said. Several treatment invoices were assembled from templates created by North Coast Community Strategies. He opened another report. The trustee correspondence contains revisions from a laptop assigned to Caleb Mercer. Evelyn's portal certification tied the files to her office. Caleb's device tied him to the trust documents. They could not claim the records were planted later. They had delivered them themselves. Dr. Pike opened one final attachment. It was an unrevised set of board minutes hidden behind the polished version. Caleb's name appeared in the attendance list. Beside the waterfront financing discussion was a handwritten instruction. Use impairment clause before closing. Use impairment clause before closing. Leah filed the unrevised minutes under seal that afternoon. The family court hearing came first. Evelyn's attorney argued that campaign finances and waterfront contracts had nothing to do with parenting. Leah agreed the court was not deciding those issues. Then she showed why the records mattered: the addiction claim, emergency order, trustee resignation, and payment to Caleb's lender were steps toward activating a trust provision. My surgeon testified by video. The pharmacist produced my dispensing history. Harbor Ridge submitted a sworn statement confirming I had never been evaluated or treated there. The judge reviewed the copied signature, Caleb's appointment as successor trustee, the debt payment, and Cascadia's forensic report. When she asked whether Caleb still believed I endangered Owen, his attorney requested a recess. They returned 20 minutes later and withdrew their opposition to unsupervised contact. The judge restored my parenting time, froze every withdrawal or pledge against Owen's trust, and appointed an independent fiduciary while the fraud allegations were investigated. It allowed my son to come home. Owen arrived that evening carrying the duffel bag Caleb had taken from his room. He stared at the empty spaces in the hallway. Did they remove my pictures because of me? No. They wanted the house to look like you had already left. 3 days later, Alder Bay held the ethics hearing. The chamber was packed with volunteers, reporters, contractors, and scholarship families. Blue campaign pins filled the front rows. Evelyn entered like she was arriving at another fundraiser. The committee chair said the hearing concerned nonprofit disclosures, public financing, and waterfront conflicts. It would not decide criminal guilt or reveal sealed family court details. Her attorney called North Coast an ordinary consultant, Harbor Ridge an independent provider, and Caleb's debt payment support for a local employer. Then Tasha testified. The clinic invoice was created before my accident. The insurer received it after surgery. The parenting petition used the same diagnosis. The trustee resignation followed. Caleb's lender was paid the next morning. Evelyn leaned toward her microphone. This woman is turning a family crisis into a political attack. The chair switched off her microphone. You will have an opportunity to respond. Evelyn pressed the button again. Nothing happened. The pharmacist confirmed no pattern of misuse. Harbor Ridge's compliance director said the invoice number did not exist in its clinical system. Evelyn's attorney suggested a billing mistake. Then Leah presented the certified Cascadia package. Not screenshots from my computer, not documents supplied by Tasha. The exact files Evelyn's office had uploaded and certified during donor review. Dr. Aaron Pike authenticated the portal records. Foundation statements had been revised on an office workstation. Trustee correspondence carried editing traces from Caleb's laptop. The treatment invoices used North Coast templates. Evelyn stared at the screen. Those files could have been altered after submission. Dr. Pike opened the portal log. The system created a digital fingerprint at upload. These are identical to the files certified by your account. Evelyn stopped reaching for the microphone. Marcus's investigation appeared online while the hearing continued. He had independently verified the addresses, transfers, campaign payments, donor submission, and waterfront entities. He did not identify Owen or quote sealed testimony. Caleb testified after lunch. He admitted signing documents in Evelyn's office but described himself as a frightened husband following his mother's advice. She said Nora was unstable after the crash. I believed temporary control was necessary. He wanted me to describe him as weak instead of deliberate. The committee counsel asked whether his mother promised to pay his lender before he signed the trustee papers. Caleb hesitated, yes. Evelyn turned so quickly that her chair struck the table. Caleb looked at me again. I never wanted Owen to lose anything. I could have softened his choice. Instead, I said what I could prove. He knew the signature was not mine. The committee counsel received permission to play a short excerpt from evidence referenced in the public filing. Owen's identity and unrelated statements had been removed. An audio waveform appeared on the screen. Restaurant noise filled the chamber. Then Caleb's voice asked, "What happens if Owen finds out what we did?" He closed his eyes before the recording ended. The silence was worse. Caleb leaned toward the microphone. My company was collapsing. My mother said the development would repay everything before Nora or Owen lost money. And when you learned false treatment records were supporting the plan? He stared at his hands. I did nothing. Evelyn demanded to respond. When her microphone was restored, she said her foundation had served thousands of children and that I was weaponizing a custody dispute to destroy a public institution. For several minutes, the committee appeared willing to separate her conduct from the waterfront project. One member argued construction could proceed under new leadership. Another said freezing it would punish workers and scholarship families. Then Tasha displayed the unrevised board minutes, use impairment clause before closing. The note sat beside a financing deadline and Caleb's name. The chair asked Evelyn who wrote it. I don't recall. Was it written in your office? I cannot say. Did you certify these minutes to Cascadia? Evelyn looked at her attorney. He did not answer. Yes. The county voted to freeze every waterfront approval, order an independent audit, and refer the records to state investigators. 3 foundation board members stood. Their spokesperson announced that Evelyn had been removed as executive director and suspended from financial authority. Campaign volunteers slowly removed their pins. 2 investigators approached and asked Evelyn and Caleb to accompany them to separate interview rooms. Evelyn reached for the microphone one final time. It had already been switched off. Outside, the air smelled of salt water and rain. Owen was waiting at the bottom of the courthouse steps. For the first time since the crash, no supervisor stood between us. He looked past me as investigators led Caleb away. Then he stepped forward and took my hand. He did not let go until we reached the car. The courthouse windows reflected workers removing Evelyn's campaign banner. Owen watched them fold her name inward. Is Caleb coming home? He asked. No. Are you divorcing him? Yes. He nodded as if confirming an answer he already knew. The investigations lasted months. The family court granted me primary residential custody. Caleb received structured visitation based on Owen's comfort, counseling recommendations, and compliance with court orders. She also did not force Owen to pretend trust could be restored on a schedule. That distinction mattered to us both. The fraudulent trustee resignation was voided. Every attempted pledge against the education fund was cancelled, and an independent fiduciary remained until the litigation ended. The $650,000 my father protected was still there. Legal and audit costs had consequences. But the fund was protected from Caleb, Evelyn, and the waterfront companies. Evelyn's campaign collapsed before she withdrew. The state imposed campaign finance penalties after investigators found foundation resources had supported political consulting and the media attack against me. Civil judgments followed for false treatment records, the forged filing, and money routed through the consulting company. A separate fraud prosecution moved slowly. there were hearings, motions, and months in which Evelyn called herself the victim of a private dispute. The public record kept answering her. Caleb sold his marine repair company. After the lender, suppliers, and employees were paid, the remaining proceeds covered only part of the diverted money. He accepted a plea agreement requiring restitution, financial monitoring, and cooperation. He apologized through his attorney. I did not answer. Owen began counseling with a therapist who never asked him to choose between loving Caleb and being angry with him. One evening, he sat across from me at the kitchen table, turning a screw from our model bridge between his fingers. I still care about him, he said. I know. But I don't trust him. I know that too. Does that make me stupid? No. It makes the situation complicated. He looked down. I thought you wanted me to hate him. I want you to be honest. Your feelings belong to you. Then I told him what I should have said years earlier. I'm sorry I confused silence with stability. I avoided conflict because I thought it protected our home. It protected the people crossing our boundaries. You didn't know they would do all this. No. But I knew smaller things were wrong. And I made them easier to ignore. He placed the screw in my hand. We both know now. Evelyn's attorneys offered a confidential settlement before the civil judgment. The amount could pay my legal bills, replace lost income, and let Owen and me leave Alder Bay. The conditions required me to withdraw public claims and blame outside consultants for the foundation's failures. Leah finished reading it. They are paying for silence and a cleaner history. I thought about my father. A forged lien ruined his business because the people responsible settled quietly and left the false record standing. No confidentiality, I said. Evelyn increased the offer. I refused again. The final agreement placed recovered foundation funds under independent supervision. Money routed toward the development was returned, and a court-approved administrator-controlled restitution connected to youth programs. I did not want Evelyn suffering. I wanted her network unable to repeat the method. My employment hearing came after the family and ethics findings. The county cleared the impairment allegation, removed the complaint from my file, and reinstated me with back pay. On my first morning back, Martin Ellis met me outside the inspection office. I should have spoken when the medical results came in, he said. Yes. He waited for forgiveness. I unlocked the door instead. My desk had been returned. My helmet sat beside my field notebook. I ran my thumb across the scratches on its brim before placing it back on the hook. For 3 months, I inspected schools, rentals, and storm-damaged homes under new leadership. I fought to recover that job because I would not let Evelyn's lie decide whether I was qualified. But returning did not mean I owed Alder Bay the rest of my life. A regional safety firm offered me a position auditing public projects across the Oregon coast. The work carried less politics, better hours, and authority to review systems instead of one permit at a time. I accepted on my terms. The waterfront fence came down that winter. The hotel proposal was canceled. The county retained the public walkway and reopened the property under conflict rules written after the investigation. Owen and I watched workers remove the development sign. Beneath it, the old shoreline became visible again. A year after the ethics hearing, the first scholarship funded through the civil recovery was awarded in my father's name. It was managed by a community college, an independent board, and a court-approved administrator. The scholarship supported students studying construction safety, marine systems, electrical work, and structural repair. Owen and I sat near the back of the college workshop. There were no campaign signs, oversized checks, or photographers arranging children around a politician. The first recipient was 19-year-old Maya Torres. Her mother worked nights at a seafood plant. And Maya planned to become a marine electrician. When her name was announced, she opened a steel toolbox containing the equipment her program required. She touched each tool as if making sure it was real. Owen leaned toward me. Grandpa would have liked this. Yes, I said. He would have understood it. Across the room, a plaque listed the investigation, recovered funds, safeguards, and the reason the scholarship existed. It did not call Evelyn generous. It did not call Caleb confused. It did not call me unstable. For years, That family survived by deciding which version of events everyone else was allowed to see. They could lose money, offices, contracts, and elections. What they could not recover was control of the record. I had taken back my son, my work, my father's trust, and my own name, but the part that finally felt permanent was the truth they had been forced to leave behind. The pharmacist looked at me twice before lowering her voice. "Ms. Hale, I can't release this refill." I leaned harder on my cane as pain tightened across my lower back. 5 days earlier, a surgeon had placed 2 rods beside my spine after a delivery van forced my car into a guardrail. Standing still had become its own kind of work. "It isn't an opioid," I said. "It's the anti-inflammatory my surgeon prescribed." "I understand, but your profile shows an active medication restriction." "What restriction?" "An addiction monitoring agreement." For a moment, I thought I had misheard her. "I don't have one." Her expression became careful. "The notice came through your insurer 3 days ago. Certain prescriptions require approval from your treatment provider." "What provider?" "Harbor Ridge Recovery Services." I had lived in Alder Bay County for 12 years. As a county building inspector, I knew most local businesses by name. I had never heard of Harbor Ridge. "I've never been there." The woman behind me stopped scrolling. A man holding cough syrup quietly moved farther away. "Print the notice," I said. "I can't print an internal alert." "Then write down the clinic name, date, and phone number." The inspector in me was still functioning. "Collect facts before arguing about causes." She wrote the information on a receipt. I folded it and left without the medication. Caleb had promised to drive me, but that morning he texted that his mother needed help at the foundation office. He had been disappearing into Evelyn's emergencies since the crash, always telling me not to worry about home. I called him from the parking lot. No answer. "Caleb, something is wrong with my insurance. It says I'm enrolled in a recovery program. Call me." On the drive home, campaign signs lined the road. "Evelyn Mercer for County Commissioner. Trust. Service. Family." Her smile followed me through town. The mailbox held an insurance envelope marked "Explanation of Benefits." Inside was a charge for a 7-day outpatient program at Harbor Ridge Recovery Services. Admission date: 2 days after my surgery. Primary diagnosis: prescription opioid misuse. Amount billed: $4,860. My surgeon had prescribed 12 pain tablets. I had taken 4 because they made me sick. The bottle was still in the kitchen cabinet. The front door was unlocked. "Owen?" Nothing. His sneakers and backpack were gone. I moved through the house with one hand against the wall. In the hallway, 3 framed photographs were missing. Only the ones with Owen. His bedroom door stood open. 2 hoodies, his charger, and his soccer duffel were gone. I called his phone. 6 rings. Voicemail: "Hey, buddy. It's Mom. Call me as soon as you get this." The second call went straight to voicemail. Caleb answered on my 4th attempt. "Where is Owen?" "He's safe." That wasn't my question. "He's staying with Mom for a few days." I gripped Owen's desk. "You took my son to Evelyn's house without telling me?" "Nora, calm down. I'm alone in my own house. There's a temporary order." My fingers went cold. "What order?" "Emergency parenting protection. My attorney said it was responsible until you stabilize." "From spinal surgery?" "From everything." I looked at the insurance letter. "Did you tell a court I'm addicted to pain medication?" I told them what the records showed. "The records are false." "Owen is scared." That frightened me more than the order. "Put him on the phone. He doesn't want to talk." I knew my son. Owen avoided arguments, but he did not hide from me. Not even after the crash, when he sat beside my hospital bed pretending not to cry. Let me hear him say that. "Don't make this worse." He hung up. I typed a furious message demanding answers. Then I read it again and saw what anyone else might see: anger, panic, broken sentences, easy words to crop beside a claim that I was unstable. I deleted it. Instead, I took screenshots of the call log and Caleb's messages. I photographed the insurance notice beside that morning's newspaper. I saved the pharmacy receipt and emailed copies to a new account. Then the county clerk called. "Ms. Hale, this is Dana Whitcomb with the Alder Bay Probate Office. I'm verifying receipt of your resignation as trustee for the Owen Hale Education Trust." I lowered myself into a chair. My resignation? The document filed this morning appoints Caleb Mercer as successor trustee. I did not sign anything. A pause. Are you saying the signature is not yours? I'm saying I never saw the document. Dana confirmed my email address. I'll send a courtesy scan. You should speak with an attorney immediately. Before opening it, I took my father's old document case from the hall closet. It was a black metal box with a dented corner. He had used it after a forged lien destroyed his contracting business. Now I placed the pharmacy receipt, insurance notice, county envelope, and printed call logs inside. Then I opened the scan. The resignation was one page. Formal. Clean. My name appeared beneath a signature convincing enough to fool a stranger, but I had seen that signature before. It was the exact slanted version I used on county inspection approvals, including the broken crossbar in the H. I searched my work archive and found the source within minutes, a marina safety report from 8 months earlier. Caleb had asked me to print it because the property belonged to one of his repair clients. He was the only person outside my office who had ever held that. Signed page. I placed the signatures side by side. They were not similar, they were identical. They were identical. I stared at the two signatures until the lines blurred. The county report had been signed 8 months earlier, before the crash, when Caleb still left coffee beside my work bag and reminded Owen to charge his phone. I wanted that version of my husband to explain this one. I wanted a mistake, not a plan. I wasn't ready to call him my enemy. Caleb entered my life 4 years earlier through a failed dock inspection at Alder Bay Marina. I condemned a rusted access ladder. He argued that replacing it would hurt his client. I told him safety codes did not care about invoices. He was patient with Owen. He never demanded to be called Dad. He helped with homework, attended soccer games, and rebuilt an old radio for Owen's science fair. After years of raising my son alone, I mistook relief for proof that I was safe. Evelyn Mercer's foundation paid for winter coats, summer meals, youth programs, and scholarships. Now her smiling face appeared on campaign signs countywide. At public events, she introduced me as if I were another project she supported. Nora keeps our building safe. We keep Nora from working herself sick. I heard ownership. She sent meals during inspection season, offered to call Owen's principal when he was waitlisted for advanced math, and introduced him to an engineering camp when I handled those things myself. She smiled. You don't have to prove you can carry everything alone. Every offer came with a diagnosis. Caleb defended her. She solves problems. So do I. Then you should understand her. What I understood was that Caleb measured peace by his mother's mood. His marine repair company had once been steady. Then fuel prices climbed, 2 commercial clients closed, and he borrowed against equipment he already owned. He told me business was tight. He did not tell me he had stopped paying a supplier, extended another credit line, and used personal cards to cover payroll. He said he was handling it. Evelyn said the same thing. Her answer was the waterfront redevelopment. The proposal promised a hotel, retail space, renovated slips, and a public walkway along the abandoned shore. Evelyn called it Alder Bay's second chance. Caleb called it 10 years of guaranteed work. My department called it incomplete. The project still required structural studies, environmental review, traffic analysis, and approval from 3 county boards. Evelyn treated those requirements as disloyalty. At her foundation banquet that spring, she placed Owen beside her on stage while photographers crowded below. He wore a borrowed blazer and held an oversized scholarship check meant for another student. Evelyn kept a hand on his shoulder while praising the next generation of Alder Bay builders. In the car, he pulled off his tie. Did she have to tell everyone about Grandpa's money? Caleb kept his eyes on the road. Mom was explaining why education matters. She said Grandpa planned ahead because some parents don't. The trust came from my late father. Before a forged lien destroyed his contracting business, he had protected $650,000 for Owen's education, training, or first home after age 25. Evelyn had twice suggested transferring it to the foundation's investment manager, better returns. Professional oversight. I refused, but politely, I said the current arrangement worked. I said we could review it later. Caleb looked exhausted whenever his mother and I disagreed. So I left room where there should have been a wall. 3 nights before surgery, Caleb brought a folder to the hospital. He said it contained backup paperwork for household bills and his company. I signed 2 medical releases and a temporary bill pay authorization. Then Caleb slid over another page. I saw the words trustee authority and stopped. This isn't about household bills. He pulled it back. Wrong form. Mom's office printed the packet. Now I started listing access. Caleb was my medical emergency contact. He collected my wallet after the crash. He had seen my signed inspection reports. He knew the safe combination where the trust papers were stored. Evelyn knew the trust's value and every reason I had given for refusing her manager. I called Tasha Reed, a forensic accountant I had met during a county fraud seminar. When I finished, she asked, "What do you have in writing?" I listed the pharmacy note, insurance notice, call logs, court scan, and trust resignation. Send copies. Keep every original. Do not accuse anyone yet. A message from Evelyn appeared while we spoke. It showed Owen at her kitchen table with pancakes in front of him. He was looking down. He is safe, fed, and finally resting. A second message followed. Cooperate with the temporary order. Fighting while emotional will only confirm the concerns already documented. It was written like advice. It read like a warning. I saved both messages with their timestamps. Tasha called again shortly before midnight. "Nora, I checked the electronic properties on the rehabilitation invoice. What did you find?" "The file was created before the hospital billed your insurer." "How much earlier?" 2 days before your accident." I looked at the empty spaces where Owen's photographs had been. Someone had not used my crash as an opportunity. Someone had prepared for it. Someone had prepared for it. The next morning I called family law attorney Leah Price. Bring every document. Delete nothing. Contact Owen only through the method the order allows. I'm his mother. And the court has been shown a version of you that may look more organized than the truth. By noon, I was in her office with my father's metal case open on the table. Leah read the pharmacy note, insurance notice, trust resignation, and Evelyn's messages. "The order is not a finding that you are addicted," she said. "It means someone created enough concern to separate you from Owen until a hearing." "How long?" "If we move carefully, days. If you violate the order or send angry messages, longer." Instead of promising Owen would be home, she gave me a list: medical evaluation, drug screening, pharmacy release, and a temporary agreement allowing supervised visits while we challenged the petition. The agreement stated that I denied every allegation and accepted the arrangement without admitting impairment. Signing it felt like surrender. At the testing center, a television played Evelyn's silent campaign commercial beside captions praising her work with vulnerable families. A technician handed me a plastic cup. I had spent 12 years inspecting buildings. Now strangers were inspecting me. The results were negative. My pharmacy record showed 1 post-surgical prescription, no early refills, no multiple doctors, and no history of misuse. My surgeon confirmed I had refused stronger pills because they made me sick. None of it brought Owen home. Evidence moved slowly. Rumors did not. The next afternoon, my supervisor called. Human Resources received a complaint about the Harbor Point condominiums. I had approved their structural corrections 6 months earlier. What complaint? That you signed off while impaired and accepted instructions you may not remember. That's false. I believe you, Nora, but the complaint includes treatment records. Until the review is complete, you're on paid administrative leave. An hour later, my work email rejected my password. The invented version of me was replacing the real one. Tasha arrived that night with a laptop, scanner, and painter's tape. She turned my dining room into an evidence wall. Blue marked medical records. Yellow marked the trust. Green marked Evelyn's foundation. Red marked Caleb's company, the invoice. The petition. The resignation. The hospital admission. The county complaint. Tasha asked the same questions repeatedly. Who created this? I don't know. Who received it? The insurer. How do you know? Because they mailed it to me. That proves they processed it, not who submitted it. Her calmness irritated me. My husband copied my signature. His mother threatened me. How much clearer can this be? Clear enough that a judge, auditor, and defense attorney reach the same conclusion without trusting your instincts. I stared at her. You know something happened, she said. My job is to prove what, when, and through which account. That was when I understood the difference between being right and being ready. We requested records through lawful channels. Leah obtained the court filings. My insurer provided the claim history. The pharmacy printed my medication record. I requested county access logs for the Marina report containing my copied signature. Tasha searched public registrations and non-profit disclosures. Harbor Ridge Recovery Services listed no clinic building. Its address was a mailbox at 214 Bay Street. The same address belonged to North Coast Community Strategies. A consultant paid $82,000 by Evelyn's foundation over 18 months. The payments were labeled outreach planning, donor coordination, and family stabilization. There was no treatment center there. Only an office above a souvenir shop. This connects the clinic to the foundation, Tasha said, but it doesn't prove Evelyn created your file. What would? Original invoices. Email headers. Bank records. Server metadata. Something they cannot blame on a contractor. We had a connection, not a case, so I changed my behavior. I stopped demanding that Caleb put Owen on the phone. Each evening, I sent one message through the approved parenting app. I love you. I am following every rule. None of this is your fault. There was never a reply. To Evelyn, I became quieter. I wrote that the pressure was exhausting me and that I was considering a longer recovery. I asked whether her investment manager could explain the trust documents once I felt stronger. She answered within 6 minutes, of course. Nothing needs to be permanent. Let us carry this until you are well. Tasha nodded. She thinks you're surrendering. I feel like I'm lying to get my son back. You're letting someone who lied about you become comfortable. The first supervised visit was scheduled for the following week. Until then, Owen and I still shared one place without permission, a cloud folder used for school projects. On the 4th day, a new file appeared. bridge_load_test_final.pdf. It looked like an ordinary engineering assignment. At the bottom, one sentence was highlighted in pale gray. The strongest point is not always where the weight is placed. It had been uploaded from Owen's school account at 10:14 that morning. He was reaching for me without breaking the order. I corrected one calculation and wrote, check your source before trusting the result. That afternoon, another file appeared. It contained photographs of bridge joints, support beams, bolts, and one blurry image that did not belong. It showed Evelyn's foundation office. A wall clock read 9:42 p.m. Caleb stood beside her desk with a pen in his hand. Papers were spread in front of him. The embedded date was the night I entered surgery. I enlarged it until the pixels broke apart. Caleb was not reading the documents. He was signing them. He was signing them. The photograph did not reveal the papers, but it destroyed my last excuse. Caleb had stayed at Evelyn's foundation until nearly 10 at night while I was being prepared for surgery. I sent the image to Leah and Tasha, then removed my correction from Owen's file. Leah called within minutes. Do not confront Caleb. We need the original file preserved, and Owen cannot be pressured before the supervised visit. He is 14. He should not be collecting evidence against his own family. No, she said. He should not have been placed where he thought he had to. The visit happened 3 days later at a family services office. The room had beige walls, 2 cameras, and toys for younger children. A case aide named Maribel sat near the door with a clipboard. Owen entered carrying a cardboard bridge kit. We froze. He looked taller than before the crash, until I noticed the stiffness in his shoulders. "Hey, Mom." "Hey, buddy." I wanted to pull him close, but waited until he chose to hug me. We assembled the bridge while Maribel listened. We talked about school, therapy, and cafeteria pizza. His hands shook while he fitted 2 beams together. "Caleb took my phone," he said quietly. I kept my eyes on the model. "When?" "The first night at Grandma's." He said the court didn't want me getting confused by messages. "Did he hurt you?" "No. He keeps acting like everything is normal." Owen pressed glue along a wooden joint. "I heard them talking before your surgery." "Caleb and Evelyn?" He nodded.